Hello everybody, welcome back. Today I'm going to be doing lots of little jobs around the plot, and I'm going to sow some seeds, we're going to do some planting, and I'm going to do some pruning and take some cuttings. And this is a Pyracantha, and if you don't know what a Pyracantha is, it's an evergreen bush type plant that is incredibly spiky, and in the winter it has some either red or orange or yellow berries, and the birds love it. And it's a fantastic security plant in that you can grow it into a hedge or up a wall or something like that, and anybody that wants to climb up it or through it, well, good luck to them, because it is incredibly thorny, and I'll bring you in a bit and show you. And the reason I'm growing it is I want to grow it up the posts of the fence and then across a trellis. And I planted this one probably a year or so ago, and as you can see, it isn't growing as I want it to. It's not growing up the fence, it's growing as a bush. So what I'm going to do is decide which part of the plant I want to keep growing upwards, and then I'm going to take cuttings from the rest of it, because I don't want it taking over the vegetable bed. I mean, in here in a few weeks I'll be putting main crop potatoes, so I need to decide which stem, and I think perhaps that one there. And then I'm going to have to put something on the fence to try and hold it. And the cuttings I'm going to grow on and plant them at every post of the fence. Now at some point I'm probably going to straighten this fence up, because with the building work next door it has moved. But I'm not going to do that until they've put the road in just the other side of this fence, because until they've finished running heavy machines up and down, there's no point. I need them to do that, and then I'll look at doing the fence. So that might be a next year job. So first of all, I think we're going to keep that as the main shoot to grow up this fence post, which means I can cut off anything else that's growing this way or sideways. So I'm going to start with this one, and that one, and this one. That's the one I'm going to keep, so we'll take that one off, and that one off, that one off, that one off, ow, and that one off. Probably advisable to wear gloves when you're doing this, but my hands are pretty tough. So, well, there's another one down the bottom there, and that one. So now we've got our stem. What I'm going to do is take off these side shoots, that one anyway, and that one. And by removing side shoots, what I'm doing is encouraging it to grow upwards as opposed to outwards. So that'll do for that. What I need to do is perhaps just get some screws, put them in the fence, and a bit of wire just to hold that in position. So what we'll do now is we'll take all these trimmings and I'll show you how I'm going to start cuttings from them. So all I've got is half a plastic pop bottle, and I'm going to take one of the trimmings, cut off side shoots, remove all the leaves on the lower part of it. When you're taking cuttings, you don't want too many leaves because the plant's going to try and keep it all alive. And then I'm going to cut this at an angle as much as I can. I really need to find my better secateurs. I can't find them at the moment, but so that's cut at an angle, and then I'm just going to drop that in there. Now what I don't want is any leaves in the water, so I'm going to take those off as well. Just like that. And what will hopefully happen is the plant will start to grow roots. And I'll show you these thorns. You see those thorns there, and they are lethal. Now I did try to take some cuttings last year, and I tried to do it in damp compost, and it just didn't work. So this year I'm going to try it in water. I think I just didn't keep the compost damp enough, to be honest. But they're quite expensive to buy in the garden centres, and if you can get cuttings growing, you can save quite a lot of money. We put a hedge, we've grown a hedge of this at the front of the house, and this was actually a cutting, this plant, from that. Now quite often it will look like these die. It will look like it's just died, it's not going to do anything. The leaves will fall off. But if you hang fire, be patient, then quite often some of them will grow roots. But yeah, really thorny. Fantastic security plant. And also, when all these houses are built next door, there's going to be loads of cats, I'm sure. And if we've got a trellis growing over the top of the fence with this on it, hopefully it will help deter some of the cats. I haven't tried taking cuttings from these with a hormone powder, a rooting powder. I suppose that is something I could do. But we'll give this a go. The really thick woody bits I'm not going to bother with too much. I'm just going to go with the more tender, newer growth. Hopefully that will work. And all I'll do is I'll put this somewhere fairly warm, probably by the shed window or in the greenhouse, somewhere warmish and light, and keep it watered, full of water, and with a bit of luck we'll get some little Pyracantha plants going, and once they've got some roots I'll just put them onto some compost, keep them well watered and let them grow. Now Pyracantha doesn't like a really rich soil, so something like a spent compost from potatoes or something would be ideal. And it's an amazing plant, it'll grow in so many different environments, from quite cold to really hot. And there we go. I don't know how many's there, but it's quite a few. And so I shall just put that pot in the greenhouse, keep watering it, and hopefully we'll grow some young Pyracantha plants. So if you've been following the channel for a while, you'll know that recently I've put quite a bit of work into the walkway where the camera is now, and put some steps in to this sort of patio area at the bottom here. And I've always had the intention of leaving this really thin strip of soil for drainage, because all the slabs slope that way. But what I don't want to do is just leave it as soil, because it's going to get full of weeds and what have you. So I said to Julie, I need a plant that grows in the shade, because it's always in the shade there, that spreads around like a bedding plant, and something that flowers and attracts the insects. And before I could even finish my sentence, she'd disappeared. And anyway, she came back a few hours later and she'd been and got one of these. And I will tell you what it is, because I'm not certain myself. A Lithadora Grace Ward, and apparently the bees like it, etc. So what I'm going to do is divide it up, I think, and just put it in 3 or 4 places along here and let it spread around. And if it comes over the path a bit, that's fine. If we walk on it, that doesn't matter, I don't suppose. It will only grow where we don't walk on it, and it will hopefully populate this little strip of soil, and it will still allow for drainage but keep the weeds down with any luck. Talking of weeds, get these out. So let's have a look at it. Take the label out, put it in there. I've just soaked it because it was pretty dry. Now I'm assuming I can break this up into 2 or 3 different plants. If not, I'll probably kill it. Plants and things are not a speciality of mine. I'm more into growing my veg, which is why I asked Julie what to get, and this is what she recommended. I don't think I'm going to be able to divide that. I think I'm going to have to plant that as one. Yeah, it's only got one stem, so okay, we'll put it in about there, and if we need to get a few more, we can. Maybe they do different coloured ones, so we could have different colours growing along here. Yeah, perhaps that's a plan. Get some different colours. One the other side of the path, a couple over there, one over there, and just let them fill this little strip. So the next little job I'm going to do is, before I get this bed full of carrots, I'm going to sow a couple of rows of radishes, just to scratch that itch of getting something to eat out of the ground as soon as possible. And radishes are so fast when they grow. You do get that, 4 to 6 weeks and you're going to be able to eat them. Great one for kids if you're trying to encourage them to garden, because they grow so quickly. So I'm just going to put a row along there, not very deep, sort of 10 millimeters, something like that. And I'm going to do 2 varieties. I'm going to do these 2 rows about 3 inches apart, because we've got the space at the moment, so no need to cram them in. So I'm going to do 2 varieties. One is Icicle, which we grew last year, really nice, a white radish. And the other one is Vienna, which is like a little red ball radish. So these are the Icicle, and they grow quite long. White radish, really nice. And then these are the Vienna, like a red ball type. So we'll put the Vienna in first. And so they're the seeds, if you can see those. And I'll try and drop one every couple of inches if I can. If a couple go in the same place, it doesn't matter. I think radish was the first thing I ever grew as a child, and then didn't like them when I tried to eat them. I love them now, but I think as a little kid, because they're quite spicy, quite hot. Don't think most kids, young kids, would like them. So that's those, and then the Icicle. Seeds look identical, so make sure that you label them up, because until they start to actually grow the root, you're not going to know. I'll sow radishes every couple of weeks probably throughout the season. But because they grow so quickly, they're a really good crop to grow between slower growing crops. And that's something called intercropping, where you grow a fast growing crop between a slow growing crop. So when I next sow some parsnips, between the parsnips I will sow radishes, because the radishes will be grown, pulled and eaten long before the parsnips take over that space. So I'm just going to put the labels in. Icicle and Vienna, and then just cover those over. I'm not going to water it because this is quite damp. And that'll do. First radishes sown this year. So next thing I'm going to sow are some marigolds, just to dot around the veg plot, just to attract the bees and other beneficial insects. And this is a packet left from last year, French petite mixed, and I'll put all of these in and try and space them out a bit better than that though. And I'll let them get, you know, just to seedling size, and then I might prick them out, put them in their individual pots. And just grow them on. And I'll probably sow a different variety in a week or two. Last year I grew Tall Boy, it was called, and these ones, and the Tall Boy are what they say, you know, they're tall. I think that they got up to like 2 foot, 2.5 foot. So I don't think I've got any of those left, but I have got another variety, so I'll do some more in a couple of weeks and just dot them around, add some colour, and if I've got too many I'll just donate them to Julie and she'll put them out in the ornamental garden. We can put some in pots up on the patio, things like that. So I'll give those water and then they'll just stay in here, unheated greenhouse, and they'll be fine. So another little job I need to do is just plant the last of the Lady Crystal early potatoes I've got. I've actually got 5, so I'm going to put them in 2 buckets, and they've got so many chits on, so I'm going to remove them so that there's only 2. And if you didn't see the video of how I plant these potatoes, then I'll put a link in the description, which is when I planted all of these other 11 pots. So I'm going to put 3 in one, I think, and 2 in the other. And all I'm doing here is just weeding these pots that I've got. This pot was actually part of the old drainage in the house when I dug it all up. This was a rainwater trap, and I don't think there's anything left growing in there other than weeds. Last year this had a herb in it, I can't remember which one, but it certainly hasn't come through the winter, so we shall be planting something else in here. Don't know what yet. And then this one was basil, and I think it's pretty dead. So let's get another one, because it was very nice last year and I love the smell of it. So I'll get these weeds out, and I think, yeah, this is dead. So that needs tipping out into the compost. And this is a fuchsia, which is meant to be a hardy variety. But I'm not convinced it's made it through the winter, and I can't see any sign of buds, or maybe there might be. Should probably have put this in the greenhouse over the winter. Hardy Bush Beacon is the variety. If anyone's got any knowledge of it, then please let me know. I think I'll leave it for now and just see if it does anything, but it looks pretty dead to me. What I might do is just give these pots, the ones with stuff that are growing, just a little sprinkling of fish blood and bone and the water. They're a little bit dry, which surprises me. Okay, so that's those, and then we've got another one. What's this? I think this was a geranium from last year. Yeah, that needs to go in the compost. And I think this may benefit from a bit of a haircut. Righto. going to give all of these a little bit of feed, but not a lot, because I think one of these, this one in particular, likes poor soil, so I don't want to give it too much. But obviously they grew in this compost all of last year, so I'll put a bit on there as well for whatever I end up putting in there. And we'll put a bit around the fuchsia, even though it may not actually be alive. I'm really not certain. I think the main stems aren't snapping off, they feel a bit springy, so I think there may well be some life there. It's just early in the year and it hasn't had a chance to come back. Okay, I've got 2 more pots over there. These are the mint. So, get rid of the dead stuff first. Ooh, that was sharp. And it's rooted, sent shoots off everywhere, and rooted again, a bit like strawberries do. It smells lovely. What does it say? This is peppermint variety chocolate. Care water well. Suitable for planting rich, moist soil. Ideal for tubs and pots. Okay. Rich, moist. So we'll give this a feed as well. God, it smells lovely. And then this one is apple mint, and I guess it would be very similar requirements. Yeah, so we'll get rid of any stuff that's not growing, pull any weeds out. Another bee. And this is more like your traditional minty flavour, minty smell. Peppermint is really strong. I'll give that a feed. I guess at the end of this season I really need to pot these on, split them up, and pot them on. I'm going to take that off there as well, that's annoying me. There we go. Right, get some water. Just water that fish blood and bone in. hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have, please hit the like button, it really helps the channel. If you haven't subscribed yet and you like this sort of content, then please do subscribe. It doesn't cost you anything, and that really helps the channel too. And if you do fancy supporting the channel a bit more, there's various membership options down below under the join button, and there's also a link down in the description if you'd like to buy me a coffee. So thank you very much, and I'll see you on the next one.